Alrighty, I'm back with you guys. Fingers crossed we have the technology working for us. Let's see if I can see you guys and your comments. I'm just going to dive into it, guys. I'm just going to trust that you guys can hear me okay. Anyway, I'm just going to dive into it, guys. Here we go. Tonight's Transformation Tuesday is all about how the problem is never the problem. So what this means is it means that in life we experience problems. We all have challenges. We all have limitations. We all have roadblocks. We all have areas in our life that we want to improve. However, typically what happens is the problem is very rarely actually the real problem. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to elaborate, I'm going to explore this, and I'm going to unpack this so that we can explore and understand what's actually going on at the root cause of our problems. Hey Dora, good to see you here. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know if you can hear me loud and clear, Dora. Swipe left to reveal comments. There we go. So I should be able to see comments. So I've got my comments turned on. Give us a shout out, Dora, if you can hear me and see me okay. I trust this is coming through loud and clear. I'm going to dive into some of the patterns of human behavior tonight, some of the major problems, some of the major limitations that we experience in life. As a professional human being, we're going to come across a lot of challenges, and the bigger the game we are playing in life, the bigger the challenges that we're going to experience. So that is one of the universal truths of life, is the bigger the challenge that we're setting for ourselves, i.e. the more that we're going for it in life, the more that we're willing to challenge ourselves, means the greater the challenge we're going to experience. So let's dive in, guys. So I want to cover one of the first major patterns that people experience, and tell me if you can relate, is people pleasing. So for a lot of people, they will report this problem as something like, oh, I feel like I'm just always getting trodden on. I feel like I can never ask for what I want. I feel like I'm always putting myself out. In reality, what's actually going on is something like, I don't value myself enough to actually request or ask for what I want. I don't value myself or value myself to the degree such that I actually make demands or actually put my needs ahead of others. And therefore I play second fiddle to everyone else, and therefore I miss out. So what it is, it's ultimately a choice. And it's a choice to ultimately not put ourselves first. It's a choice to not value ourselves. So that's what's actually going on beneath the scenes of people pleasing. Another example is someone who says that they just feel like they're holding back. Says like, oh, I just feel like I'm holding back in life. Well, holding back is simply code for I don't either trust myself to actually go for it. I may be afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of what other people think. Typically, I'm afraid of what someone else is going to say. I'm afraid of the opinion of someone else because I'm now going to make that opinion mean something about me, and it's now going to affect my self-worth. So when someone says they're holding back, it's like, well, there's something below the tip of the iceberg that's actually generating that holding themselves back. It's typically because they're outsourcing their sense of self-worth, or they're outsourcing their opinion of themselves to the opinion of others, or maybe it's just simply they don't trust themselves. They don't trust themselves to be able to handle what life is going to throw at them, which again comes back to a lack of self-worth. So most of these patterns I'm going to be sharing with you all come back to a lack of self-worth, because if we truly valued ourselves, if we truly loved ourselves to the highest degree, we wouldn't let the opinions of others have anything to do with the degree of self-worth that we actually experience. So that's one of the major clues that is actually that's actually playing out when we actually contemplate the problems that are actually arising within us. So, and some other examples, and I trust you guys can hear me. For some reason my comments are not coming through. Hey Dora, can you hear me okay? Just let us know if you can hear me. Hey Jess, how you doing? Cool, awesome. So let's go into this. So let's go a level deeper. A business owner might say, I can't scale my business, or I've got to, hey Ali, good to see you here. A business owner might say the problem is I've just hit my first $1 million and I can't break through that $1 million barrier. Well, the problem is not that they can't break through the $1 million barrier. The problem is not that they're not intelligent enough. The problem is not that their industry is too challenging. The problem is not that their business model is flawed. The problem is most likely they simply haven't taken the time to actually master marketing or sales or operations or referral strategies or one of the other categories within their business. So, hey, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Priyanka, good to see you here. Hey Dora, good to see you. So typically when a business owner presents their symptom, which is I can't break through my $1 million barrier, what I do is I then say, rightio, well, is it leadership? Is it operationally? Is it you're at maximum capacity? Is it that you haven't got an automated systematized lead generation system? Is it that you have customers that are wanting to do business with you, but you're not able to close the deal? So you're not able to communicate, influence, or command and project your authority or a sense of certainty? Is it that you're procrastinating and wasting time? Is it because you lack a sense of self-worth, or is it because you lack a sense of motivation? Hey Jess, good to see you here. Is it because you lack the ability to communicate and influence and lead the team of people that are under you to actually get the best out of them so that they can actually get the work done when you're not there? So what sits below the surface of something like I can't scale my business is actually dysfunction on multiple levels where it's not actually the problem. And typically it always goes back to internal. It always goes back to what is it within an entrepreneur, what is it within a business owner such that they can't get the result that they want. What is the action, or what is the expression that they're wanting to make or take that they feel like they are inhibited or can't express themselves such that they can't get the result in their business. So I always link it back to one of the major dimensions of business. Where is the dysfunction? Is it in marketing? Is it you haven't got a lead generation system? Is it in sales? Is it you don't have the ability to influence authentically or communicate? Is it the ability to have the operational capacity to deliver that product or service to the degree that you want? Is it leadership? Is it you don't have the ability to lead or inspire your team? So again, the problem is never the problem. Another beautiful example is something like fear of public speaking. So someone says that I'm afraid of public speaking. Well, fear of public speaking is not the problem. The problem is a lack of self-worth, and I'll tell you why. Because if we are willing to outsource our sense of self-worth to the opinion of someone else, which is ultimately if we're afraid of speaking in public, what we're actually doing is we're saying, well, what I'm now doing is I'm now buying into taking on the opinion of someone else or the thoughts or the perspectives of someone else, and I'm now going to buy into that to give me, so it's externalizing my sense of validation of myself through other people. So it's not a fear of public speaking. It is what the program that we're running is that I am outsourcing my self-worth to your opinion, and based on what you perceive me or your judgment or your opinion, I'm now going to then decide how much I want to value myself or how I'm going to feel. So I'm now buying into this external reality rather than actually deciding to create my own internal reality. So that's what's actually going on with fear of public speaking. Another example is I don't have enough money. A lot of people say I haven't got enough money or I can't earn enough money. Now, the reality is that it's got nothing to do with not having enough money or can't earn enough money. What usually happens is, how's this? How are you choosing to run an unsuccessful wealth creation strategy, right? Because there's people that earn very, very little that manage to save a lot and do very, very well. And there's also people that earn a lot and manage to squander the whole lot of it. So you're probably familiar with there's a lot of concepts and stories about people that win lotto. Most of them, a large percentage of people that win lotto, they actually squander it and they actually lose most of it within a couple of years, according to statistics. So again, what we find here is there's thought patterns, there's limiting beliefs, there's fears, there's ingrained belief systems that are actually playing out here. So the key question that we can actually ask ourselves to recover where we're not taking responsibility is, how am I choosing to run an unsuccessful wealth creation strategy? Or how am I choosing to not value myself such that I'm going to charge my worth or pursue a career or pursue a business or grow my business or grow my career such that I'm paid what I'm worth? Or maybe, just maybe, there's a belief there floating around that's something like, I don't believe there's enough money to go around. Or maybe it's something like, if I have a lot of money, then someone else is going to miss out. Or if I have money, then that's greedy. Or money is the root of all evil. So again, all of these are simply just made up beliefs. And these are the beliefs that are driving the situation that's been created, which is, I don't have enough money. But it's actually all the way back up the chain, all the way back up the strategy. The internal mental belief system strategy is that we're either not worthy, we're either not motivated enough, or we've got limiting conflicting beliefs or conflicting values about maybe freedom and money. So again, the problem is never the problem. The problem is always at the belief, at the mindset level. That's the origin, that's the source of all of problems, and that's what I'm pointing out with you guys this evening. Hey Lynn, hey Heidi, good to see you guys here. And I'm going to jump on to the next one, which is another common limiting belief, or another common roadblock that a lot of people experience, which is I'm not good enough. Now, I'm not good enough. Let's actually take a look at what's beneath that. Hey Paul, good to see you here, mate. Is it that we're not good enough, or is it that we're simply making the choice in that moment to not value being willing to go on a learning journey, to go on a journey of expanding our skill set? Because so I would say I'm not good enough is just a cop-out. I would say that's actually a covert way of saying, well, I actually don't care about this enough, or I don't trust myself enough, or I'm not willing to be courageous to embrace the unfamiliar, or I've simply failed to recognize that I can learn this if I am willing to invest the time, the energy, and the resources and be resilient in order to learn this. So again, I'm not good enough, it's not actually accurate. Or a better way of saying that might be, well, I currently don't have the skill set to execute this right now. However, if I was to invest the time, the energy, and the resources in developing that skill set, then I could. So that's a much more accurate description. Just like when someone says, oh, I can't afford it. Again, this is the ultimate cop-out, because someone says, I can't afford it. And can't afford it is, again, it's covert for, but people just spurt this out unconsciously. Oh, I can't afford it. But when you say I can't afford it, it's very disempowering. The more accurate way to say this is, I'm choosing to not prioritize investing funds or money or borrowing money in order to invest in this activity because it doesn't align with the greatest good of what I'm looking for right now. That's a much more empowering way to say I can't afford it rather than say I can't afford it. So the thing about this is, so many people in life will invest, they might say, for example, go to a bank and they might take out a loan for $500,000 just to buy a house, right? So when it comes to a house, we're willing to go to a bank and take out $500,000 just simply to buy a bit of real estate. However, when it comes to someone, say, investing in their mindset or investing in themselves or investing in something else, when that excuse comes up, it's like, well, you weren't going to the bank to get a loan for $500,000 there, or you weren't willing to get a personal loan for that. So what was going on there? The only difference is the value that we're placing on that activity. So the most empowering way of approaching that when we're thinking, can I afford it? Is actually saying, what is the value of this? What is the value I'm placing on this right now? And does it align with my greatest good? Does it align with my values? Is this value worth it? And if it's not worth it, then don't say I can't afford it. It's saying I'm not placing a high enough value on this right now to prioritize sacrificing or moving mountains within my personal life or my personal finances to make this work. So that's a much more empowering perspective, and it's also more accurate. So another big one here is I'm too busy, or I don't have enough time. And if you guys can relate to this one, let me know. Because again, I call bullshit on this one as well. Is to say I'm too busy or I don't have enough time. Well, everyone has got the same amount of time in the day. Richard Branson and Tony Robbins and Elon Musk, they've all got the same amount of time in the average day as us. So it's not about not having enough time, or I don't have enough time, or I'm too busy. Again, the empowering way to approach that is to say, right now I'm choosing to prioritize my time in these and these and these areas, which means that which I'm thinking about doing isn't actually important. So what is important to us is ultimately going to occupy our time, our energy, and our resources. So if something's not important enough for us to spend time on it, don't say I'm too busy, I don't have time. Saying I'm choosing not to prioritize my life with that activity right now because these activities are much more important and I'm consciously choosing to spend time on those instead. Much more empowering situation, much more powerful and empowering way of commanding our reality. So these are really subtle distinctions, but these are really powerful, these are really impactful, because what these are doing is it's taking the responsibility back. This is taking the power back over our reality, and it's ultimately putting us back in control and putting us at cause to the reality that we're creating. And it's saying, yeah, I'm choosing to do this, or I'm choosing to not do this. Another example is I can't lose weight. So a lot of people say, I can't lose weight. The covert excuse, or the actual real problem beneath that, is How am I choosing to drown my emotions right now, to not deal with what's actually going on in my life, such that I'm going to basically hide? Or another one is, how am I choosing to not exercise? How am I choosing to not take on the knowledge, the wisdom, and the information available and take action on that? How am I choosing to not prioritize my health? And how am I choosing to prioritize something else? So again, it's not that I can't lose weight. It is, well, you can lose weight, but you just need to simply do this, 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 and this, and that the process will unfold. It's simply, well, why are we choosing to not do that? How are we choosing to not take responsibility? So another example is it's hard to find good staff. I speak to a lot of business owners who say, oh, it's just too hard to find good staff. Well, is it it's too hard to find good staff, or is it you just have a belief that it's difficult to find good staff, which means that you don't have to take responsibility for putting in the effort to have a fantastic, phenomenal culture, to really to create a business that has a reputation of excellence so that you can attract the best staff. Maybe it's that that you haven't created a culture or a team that people want to stick around. Maybe you haven't created a high-performance culture, which means that staff come and go, and you go, oh, well, it was all them. It's not me, it's them. So again, as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, the highest form of responsibility comes when we actually recognize, well, we have a part to play. We need to take responsibility. We need to be at cause. We need to recognize how we have created, how we have contributed to that part of the situation. So instead of saying it's hard to find good staff, we need to say, well, what is it? Is it that I haven't created a culture of high performance in my organization such that people want to stay, or the people are attracted to me, or such that my team recommend other high performers to come and join my team? So again, is it about that it's hard to find good staff, or is it that maybe our leadership isn't up to scratch? Maybe the culture of our business, maybe the operations, the systems within the business aren't set up. Maybe the recruitment strategy was flawed. Maybe we're simply not investing the time, the energy, and the resources to educate ourselves in that area. So there's a lot of different facets and functions that are going on where if we were to take true responsibility for the situation, the cause of that lies multiple levels deeper than most people are aware of. And as Einstein said, the problem can't be solved at the same level of thinking that created the problem. So we need to be able to outthink ourselves. We need to be able to transform our thinking to recognize, how do I take responsibility for this challenge, and how do I personally take responsibility for it? So this is ultimately about personal responsibility. We could outsource that responsibility to someone else, but that's very disempowering because now we're reliant on someone else. So what we need to do is, to the maximum degree possible, take responsibility for the problem and the genesis of that problem, about where it's been created. And when we can take responsibility from our perspective, that is where we have true empowerment. That is where we can actually do something about it. Because if it's someone else's fault, if we're blaming someone else, if it's always something outside of us, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's a very disempowering way to live our life when something's always someone else's fault, or something is, it's out there, we can't change that. So again, we need to recognize, where do we need to take control? Where do we need to take responsibility and really create different behavior and different belief systems within us to really create transformation. So that's the key challenge, and that's the key point I wanted to make here, is all of these problems that I've just spoken about, these are all about taking responsibility. This is all about recognizing whereabouts within us can we internalize and take responsibility for that challenge, rather than placing the blame outside of ourselves. And again, it's not even about blame, it's about taking responsibility. Even just that word blame. Blame implies that someone's done something wrong. Well, how about we take out the word blame, and how about we just say, we'll take responsibility, which is the ability to respond. It's the ability to take action. It's the ability to notice something that's not unfolding exactly where we want it to be, and saying, right, what adjustments do I need to make in the process, in the flow within me or within my environment in order to create a different result. Anyway, they're some of the most powerful ones that I wanted to bring to your awareness. And there's thousands of these. Literally on a daily basis, I have conversations with clients where there's thousands of excuses, thousands of problems, but the problem is never the problem. The problem is, and I'll give you another example, procrastination. A lot of people say the problem is procrastination. Oh, my problem is I'm procrastinating. Well, I've got news for you. The problem is not actually procrastination. The problem is something like, typically the most common causes of procrastination that I coach on a daily basis is people that are just disconnected with their purpose. So it's not that they're procrastinating, it's simply they don't have a purpose. They aren't connected with the reason why they're doing something. Maybe they're afraid of failing. right? So they have this fear of failure, they have this fear of judgment, they have this maybe even a fear of success. And that's the reason why they're procrastinating. So procrastination is a downstream consequence. Procrastination is very much just this after effect. So procrastination is the result. The root cause of procrastination is fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, lack of or disconnection with purpose, or overwhelm. There's a lot of different causes of procrastination. So trying to just treat the procrastination doesn't work. We need to actually understand, well, what's driving that? What's at the root cause? What's underneath that? What's underneath the tip of the iceberg that's driving that? Hey Shane, good to see you here, brother. And as I said before, fear of public speaking. It's not fear of public speaking that's the problem. It is our concern or our consideration for placing a level of opinion on someone else's judgment about us and our self-worth. So that's what's actually going on for fear of public speaking. Hey, Dory, got your question here. Why is it that you can be so focused and take responsibility in one or two areas of life, however struggle with applying the same principles in other areas of life? Awesome question, Dora. Thank you. So yes, what this can come down to is a number of different factors. So typically when we're taking responsibility in one or two areas of life really, really well, that means that those areas of life will be important. So again, this is without understanding the context behind this, so maybe you might be able to give me some insights into the areas, Dora. But typically what's happening here is your core values or the areas of life that are most important to you, you will prioritize those. They will essentially be where you're willing to, that's what creates motivation for you. It's what you're willing to allocate resources, time, energy, and money towards. So the other areas of life, right, the other areas that I'm assuming you're talking about, they might be areas that are not important to you or not as important to you. So what that means is there's not as much motivation there. Your standards that you've got in terms of the standards or the expectations that you've got for yourself and how they're playing out, the standards will be lower. And maybe just the care factor just isn't quite there. So again, it's recognizing that this is quite a complex issue in terms of what's actually driving our motivation. But it's identifying that, look, if there are areas that we don't have that same level of responsibility, what's beneath that? Typically, there'll be limiting beliefs. There'll be a belief system that's going on there. There might be fears. There might be a lack of motivation. There might be a lack of purpose. There might be a lack of connection with the benefit of improving that area of our life. So again, it can happen on multiple different levels where there are limiting beliefs, there are fears, there's all sorts of patterns and conditioning that's playing out that's preventing us from really maximizing that area of our life. So I trust that sort of adds to your question, Dora. I'm going to keep this one super short and sharp, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Transformation Tuesday. I'm going to put up a note sheet for those guys, for those of you that want to download a cheat sheet, a worksheet, and I've also got my webinar coming up this Thursday. Yeah, you're welcome, Dora. I've got my webinar coming up, which is a NLP training. So it's coming up this Thursday, Perth time, 6 p.m, Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. For those of you that want to understand more about what I'm sharing, this all originates, most of what I'm sharing originates from neurolinguistic programming. It's a field of psychology, of coaching, and of ultimate empowerment that I have been practicing and training in and teaching people and coaching my clients in a number of years now. So for those of you that would love to learn more about this and this field of science, the conversation that I'm having, this is the conversation that you'll be able to have when you understand these concepts and these principles in neurolinguistic programming that I am teaching and training. So if you're interested in learning more, please click the link and register to jump on that call on Thursday. And I'm going to take this multiple levels deeper and share with you and unpack how to actually do this, how to coach people on this, how to understand our problems, how to diagnose the root cause, how to understand what's the actual problem, not what's the surface level problem. So if this resonates with you and you would like to learn more, please click the link and I'd love to see you on the class. It's totally free. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. Until next Tuesday, until next Transformation Tuesday, wishing you guys a wonderful week. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Thanks, Dora. Thanks, Shane, Paul, Heidi, Lynn, Jess. Good to see you guys all here. Wishing you a great evening. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.